Awesome. So this is Darren with Leaders in Business Podcast, where CEOs and executives in the digital marketing and social media space share their best advice. It is 6 questions in 9 minutes because leaders know what they are talking about. So let's get to it. In a few sentences, just go ahead and tell us who you are and what you do.
Thanks, Darren. Well, I'm Kimberly Wiefling, and I turn managers into leaders and groups of people into real teams who can get impossible things done together.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So what's the best thing about leading your business?
Well, I love being independent. At the same time, I collaborate with people all over the world. I have a team of about a dozen people here in Silicon Valley, another 4 people in Europe I cooperate with, another 4 in Tokyo, and 1 in Australia. So I can be independent and in charge of my own reality, and yet I can have these wonderful co-conspirators.
Sounds like a big, happy family. I hear from other business leaders that it can be challenged to grow your business in today's environment, especially with COVID and all the craziness that's going on. What are some of the biggest challenges you're seeing leaders face today?
Yeah, absolutely. I work with a lot of leaders all over the world, mostly with Japanese companies, and talking to these people who are at the director level or the VP or even the general manager or president of division level. And they're telling me, oh, Kimberly, I don't know how to connect to my people. I used to be able to walk the plant, or I used to be able to walk through the offices. And I'm like, really? Seriously? Get on video. You have to eat lunch every day, don't you? And open your lunches up and say, hey, drop in, have lunch with me virtually. Or how about a virtual happy hour every Friday and tell your people, charge the beer on your expense report. Personally, I have been doing a virtual happy hour every day since March 18th, and this is almost 6 months now. My mother comes, and a half dozen or a dozen of my friends come. It's not hard, people.
That is a great idea. I love that idea so much. That's so cool. So what is the best advice, you can give to other business leaders about creating a successful business?
Well, one of the things that I find really helps is to do the right thing at all times and to serve the greatest good of your clients, right? I'm passionate about my work. My goal is always for a client to either help them be successful and be effective in helping them change in the ways that are important to their success, or to get fired. And that integrity has served me very well because all of my business comes from referrals, personal connections, or networking of people who know me and know what I bring. I'm really scrappy, Darren. I'm really intense. If you don't want to work with this, you should not hire me. I tell people, I'm a horse. If you want to climb a tree, I will find you a squirrel.
I love you. I love you so much. Okay. There was a nugget in there that was very interesting. It was talking about just doing the right thing. It sounds like so simple, like common sense. But I find that, sometimes we're getting in our own way of doing the right thing. What are some of the pitfalls you're seeing leaders encounter when they're trying to do the right thing, but then they're like, oh, I got to do this other thing? Like, can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I don't encounter a lot of leaders trying to do the right thing, Darren. That's the sad thing. That's why I have a job. I mean, I'm a physicist by education. I have a master's in physics, so I love data. And the research on this is pretty disgusting. The number one reason that teams fail globally is they don't have trusting relationships. The number one, really, seriously, people. Number 2 is communication, problem solving. Number 3 is like goals of the individuals and team aren't aligned. And number 4 is goals aren't clear. This is completely a failure of leadership. Completely a failure of leadership. So the kind of things I see people doing is falling into very, very predictable and avoidable pitfalls of not spending time on what my engineering friends call the touchy-feely crap.
The touchy-feely crap. Okay, so if we're going to distill like one golden nugget, or if you want to do more, go for it, about getting in tune with their touchy-feely crap, how would somebody go about that when there's trust issues, communication issues, goals aren't being aligned, you name it? Can you explain on that?
So you mentioned common sense before. It's not common practice. So there are very basic common sense things to do with leadership, team effectiveness, and organizational culture and project management that are not common practice. And if they just do these things, and it's not hard, I can fit it all on one page, and I'm happy to send you this one page. They just do it. Unfortunately, knowing how isn't enough. It's like you tell somebody who wants to lose weight, Eat less, exercise more. They know. They just can't do it. It's the discipline to do it that's lacking. Discipline to do what's required, whether you feel like it or not. And how we think and feel is a very poor guide to what we must do as leaders.
Wise words. And interesting thing about discipline, I find in my own practice, is the ability to unprogram a habit and recreate or create a new habit. You know, there's been a lot of science around how long it takes to create a habit, and I'm interested to hear, you know, obviously you're installing like the system, and then how do you get that to stick, you know?
Well, so there's some interesting research about this. If you just have an idea, oh, I'd like to change something, there's a 10% chance you'll do it. If you write it down, suddenly it's 40% chance. And then if you tell somebody, hey, Darren, here's what I'm committed to. Would you please check up on me every week for a few weeks? 90% chance or more that I will do it. And what I do with my clients is I put them into thinking partner teams and I say, hey, share with each other your big goals and dreams for who you want to become and what you want to achieve, and then check in with each other. And you meet every week or every month for 6 months, you will see changes happening.
That's beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
You don't want to have to disappoint your friends. You know, you tell your people you're going to change, and then you come and they say, well, what'd you do? Oh, nothing. You don't want to be, that's embarrassing, right? So you're going to do it.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Awesome. So what other successful business leaders like yourself would you like to acknowledge and should be on the podcast?
Well, you know, I have a wonderful group of people in my life called Silicon Valley Alliances. We all have our own independent businesses. We all have our own independent lives, but there's some amazing people in that collective. One of them is Alicia Castillo-Hawley. She is on the Sandhill Angels board. She's been an investor, an angel investor for years, and she has the highest integrity. I would really recommend that you get Alicia and talk with her.
Beautiful. I'll definitely reach out to her. Now,
there's others, but you know, let me just tell you, I can give you dozens, but Alicia is my number one pick.
Just one. Absolutely. So now for the final fun question, who's the most interesting person to follow on social media and why?
Well, I'm a big Star Trek fan, so you know, Jean-Luc Picard is good, or George Takei. I love George Takei. He's sassy.
Awesome. I got to go check out his feed. All right. Well, it was a pleasure having you on. How can people find you?
I have a website, KimberlyWiefling.com, or just Wiefling.com if you want the more serious stuff. And I hope that they'll also check out my books. I wrote Scrappy Project Management, Organizational Cultures. This one's in Japanese. Can't read it. Don't read Japanese. Or you can just call the police. They'll usually know where I am.
Well, that's a wrap. This is Darren with Leaders in Business Podcast. For more insights and ideas, go to our website, leadersinbusinesspodcast.com. Thank you so much.